Hey, this is Pastor Purple. We are doing our thought for today. We are in the book of Lamentations. Lamentations is a very particular sort of literature. I wish I could show you this particular Bible and how it's laid out. It's laid out beautifully for this text. It happens to be the Encouraged Bible. If you get to have a look at a copy, you can see this text laid out so beautifully in the way that they've broken up the verses with the different Hebrew words, and it's wonderful. You get that whole sense of how the text builds, which again leads me to the point that you should read your Bible in context. So we're looking at Lamentations. We're on day 46 and we're in chapter 3 verse 31 to 33. This particular one is kaf, which is the Hebrew word, the Hebrew letter. We're at kaf. I think I said that right, I hope. I studied New Testament Greek, not Hebrew, so forgive me. For the Lord will not reject us forever. Even if he causes suffering, he will show compassion according to the abundance of his faithful love. For he does not enjoy bringing affliction or suffering on mankind. I have to sit with this one for just a moment because I think that this is really about where we're at in the world today. Even before Corona, the question that most human beings had against religion, against a good creator God, has been over this issue of suffering. If there is a good God, how can he allow this to happen? And there are so many wise people, wiser than I, more articulate than I, who have tackled this question, who have encouraged people to think about the ramifications of what they are asking, because there are ramifications for that. But I want to tackle one misconception or one idea, one beginning idea. And the beginning idea is that we are good. I think that most of us believe genuinely that we are nice, good, kind, loving people. And I'm not saying that everyone watching this video or everyone in this world is not a good person. That's not what I'm saying. But in some ways I am saying that. I am challenging that narrative. And I'm challenging it based on a number of things. I think let us be honest about who we are ourselves. I'm not going to call out your ish. I'm not trying to expose you. But think about who you are in your lifetime and the things that you have done, as nice, as kind, as well-meaning, as, intentional as you've lived. Maybe you've been a Christian your whole life and you have tried to do good. And think about the hurt and the damage and the pain that you've caused. Sometimes when trying to do the right thing, you have caused unmeasurable pain. And I can tell a story about a time when I caused pain completely unintentionally. I was simply just being a teenage girl who was fed up of people asking questions about her identity and dating life with her friend, and I caused him harm because I was so frustrated and I was just trying to watch out for myself and just trying to defend myself. I did not intend anything bad to happen, but bad happened and I caused pain. And because of that, that incident sticks with me, because it's not about whether I want to be good or not. It's not about me intending to cause pain or not. That is a consequence of a broken and fallen world. As we think the default setting is good, wonderful people, and we try of our own strength to be that. But without the guidance and the wisdom of the one who created and put the earth in motion, we end up doing a lot of damage. We call what is bad good and what is good bad. If you think about it, really just let go of the kind of politics for the minute. So we're not talking in American terms of, Republican, Democrat, or in British terms, Conservative, Liberal, Labour, or, the Netherlands, I can't even quote because there are so many different political parties, which I think is much more healthy. But we're not talking about this kind of conservative, liberal, extremist agenda. We're not talking about that. Just think for a moment. Whose human should die because they can't pay to have healthcare, or they can't work because they're disabled, or they can't, Like, which human's life isn't valuable enough that they don't deserve to eat? Like, just think about that on a basic level. Just on a basic human level. There are humans on this earth that today will have died of starvation in a world which has plenty. Food is going to waste right at this very minute. There are food that you will not eat that is rotting in your cupboard because you had too much, you didn't eat it on time, because we're wasteful, because of all sorts of reasons. Not because we're bad people, but because that is the system that we live in. But there is a child somewhere who is going to starve to death today because they don't have food. And who are we to say which one of those people do that? Like, who are we? And then you want to blame God when it's humans who've created that problem. Humans who went through deforestation and made the deserts wider. They went through and completely wiped out economies. We did this destructive behavior. And then the question that comes up time and again is, what happened to the good God? Why doesn't he come in and fix? And fix what exactly? It's our problems, right? When we're asked to vote responsibly, we would rather stand in the street and clap than vote responsibly. You know, voting numbers are very low in some countries. They do not vote accordingly. There are countries where you can hold your government accountable for their wicked actions, and people don't do that. People don't ask the questions of their lawmakers. They don't do those things. We can be so self-focused. And so the question of suffering comes up time and time again. And I am not saying that you shouldn't ask the question. As I said, there are many wise people who have written volumes on this and can answer this. I read a beautiful book, which I will have to share one day. I cannot now remember the name of the author. But it was basically answering the question of suffering. Wonderful questions. Looked at all sorts of different religions and how we deal with this question of the good God and the suffering. Beautiful explanations. But I think there's an underlying question that needs to be asked. Why do you think that humans are good? What is it about you that thinks that humanity is good and deserves to have everything fixed constantly by the good God and not corrected? And isn't that interesting that we want it fixed, not corrected? And this isn't an easy subject for me, and I'm sure I'm going to get trolled underneath this. I'm sure people are going to have a field day, telling me how wicked I am for blaming humans for the things when God should go in and fix it. But isn't it interesting that the rates of paedophilia increase, that the rates of abuse increase, that the rates of marital abuse increases, that we still have a woman per week in some countries dying at the hands of a spouse, that we still have countries in Western society, supposedly so much further along than the rest of the world, where the conviction rates for rape, which is a serious and high crime, is still so low. We're talking less than 10% of rape crimes end in a conviction. But apparently we're so good, we're so amazing as people that we can keep challenging this notion of a good God that exists, because we say, but where is he when we suffer? And I think the underlying assumption is that we are good people. And what this text says to that, what Lamentations as a whole book is the outworking of God. We are hurting, and we want to cry out to you, and we have all of this energy to give you. What it isn't talking about is how good we are and how much we deserve you to come and fix all the mess that we've made. Because actually, we need to take responsibility for our ish. We need to deal with our mess. We need to fight those fights. We need to get dirty and campaign and vote and work harder and do better. I don't know. When it comes to Lamentations, it's a beautiful book that allows us the space to really lament, which is the name of the book, but really just cry out to God from that deep place of hurting. But not in a self-righteous way of saying, like, where are you? Because you should have fixed all of this by now if you're so great. But from a real place of saying, I recognize that you are hurting too, and that you created a good world and we corrupt it day on day, and we take no responsibility for that. And in fact, we blame you and say that you should bear everything for it. You should take every consequence. It's your fault anyway. Why don't you accept every consequence that we have done? And I think there's a real selfish kind of arrogance that comes out. You know, I didn't mean this Bible text to go in that direction, but I guess I've been thinking about some stuff recently. So again, this is a long one. I'm sorry, I should try and be shorter tomorrow. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Bye-bye.